Good morning. Do you guys remember when we were kids or teens and we used to rebel against our parents and always throw little tantrums thinking, no, you're wrong and I'm always right? Remember those days when we always think of, like, I'm always correct and you're wrong. I have responsibility for myself when you just turn 16 and be like, I'm an adult already, I can do whatever I want. We don't realize that they're trying to teach us in a correct way until we grow older or we start having kids of our own and we think like, you know what, listen to me, and our kids don't want to listen to us. A guy by the name of Wordsworth once said, by the time a man realizes that maybe his father was right, he usually has a son who thinks he's wrong. In this quote, I believe that it's correct because when we grow older, we don't think of the responsibility that our parents try to teach us, or friendships that they try to say, oh, look for good friends, or also as in our life goals. For my first thing is responsibility. We don't realize the importance of chores, of how when you have your own house or you're going out and you want to look at least clean for something. You don't want to be living like with a mess here or a mess over there. Or when you have visit, you think like, wow, these people are actually going to judge me by the appearance of how when they come to my house as well. Also, my second example is about friendships. We don't realize some friends are bad, and our parents try to guide us in a way to get us to be more responsible in our lives. And we start realizing when we get older, I don't need you in my life if you betray me. As when we were younger, we always be like, no, they're my friends, I believe in them. But in reality, we don't need those people to give us negativity. My last example is our life goals. When we don't realize that we need to work for a living as well. When we're kids, we think like, oh, we'll get anything we want. It'll come to me. But when you get to that point in life that you need to figure out, like, I need to start doing this, I need to start doing my own responsibility and taking care of myself. And it isn't until we realize that when we're going through a tough path or decision, that what our parents had taught us was correct. When we start having those kids and realizing the responsibility and majority of our time will be trying to raise them to become a better of themselves than how we were ever raised. And that's what the quote is today. You have to like sell and explain it all.
All right, Janine, I think you're helped by a very solid introduction. You've got a nice attention device that leads to the topic. You give us the topic. Your point of view on the topic is pretty clear. It sounds like you've got sort of a preview, but it doesn't really sound like it's the same structure that you end up developing. So there needs to be a little bit more alliance between those two things. I thought that seemed a little problematic. The content, I thought you started off pretty well with some good illustrations and definitions and ideas that you're talking about. You could use a little bit of detail to make it interesting. I was wondering, for instance, if you had an example of one of those friends that you didn't really need in your life. I'm sure that you'll think of 3 of them on your way home today. And you say, why didn't I mention so-and-so? And, explain why that person, my parents were right about him or her, that I didn't need them and they were kind of distracting to me or caused me to behave in ways that I shouldn't have. And, I can see it now here 8 years later, but I didn't see it at the time. I just thought my parents were being bossy about that sort of thing. And now, that person's sitting in jail or I don't know. I mean, I didn't say you'll think of something. Everybody gives a better speech in the car on the way home than they do in class. They think, oh, I could have said that, I could have said that, I've got this great idea, why didn't I say that kind of thing? And you'll come up with those kinds of ideas. But you did pretty well in explaining each of those concepts that you had. On the presentation issues, I thought your voice projected well. You looked engaged while you were speaking to us. There are a few indicators and gestures. Your eye contact with the audience I thought was very solid. Your movements for the most part seemed purposeful. Maybe you rushed a little bit in the last 30 or 40 seconds of the speech. I guess you see the end coming and just let's go ahead and get there. But that was very negligible when it comes to anxiety issues. I thought the summary was pretty good. All right. Thank you.